everybody. Surprise! We're doing a preparedness live stream on a Sunday. Guys, making a video is just so painful to me. It shouldn't be, but it is. So I said, you know what? Screw this. I'm going live and we're going to do this live. So here we are. Let me know when you can see me and when you can hear my smart ass mouth, and we'll be off and running to the races with this topic. I see folks in the chat. Hey, Joe. Hey, Tiger. I see Angie. How are you guys doing? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's good to see y'all. Like I said, I wasn't planning to do a live. I actually filmed this as a video, or was trying to film it as a video. And hey, Metal, how you doing? And it's just, I don't know. I just have an aversion to filming videos, I guess. I don't know, guys. But we'll do it live. I've got pictures, and hey, Angie, well, thank you. All right, 5 by 5. Hey, F Home, thanks very much. All right, 5 by 5. Excellent. Okay, so this is actually, I think, a really important topic, and it never occurred to me to actually do a video about this or to do a stream about it. But I'm hoping maybe it's not too late for folks out there who are kind of just now maybe getting into preparedness, or if you have questions about storing your food. I get asked somewhat frequently, and I see other creators are asked this as well. And people we ask each other. I see in chats on other live streams and in comments on other creators' videos, people asking, how much food do I need to store? How much is enough? When do I stop? And really what I think that person is getting to, what they're really asking is, please tell me how much rice I need to store for my family, for my family's needs. How many bags of pasta do I need? How many cans of tuna? How do I determine what my family needs so I know how much to store? And that's not really anything that I see we really answer. We typically give an answer of, oh, start with 2 weeks and go from there. But that still doesn't really answer the question. And I'm guilty of saying it too, instead of really getting into, well, here's how you're going to calculate it. So I thought it would be a good idea for me to do this video. Oh, hey, Robert, how are you? No, I'm good, thanks. We're pretty chill over here. And Mr's my mod, so he's usually lurking about, so I'm not worried about it. Thank you, though. Oh, hey, Joe, how are you doing? You just had an epic store trip. Can't afford any more food. Your kitchen's packed. Well, that's awesome. That's good to know. So a lot of people, when they start out storing food, they tend to store it based on, and I'm guilty as well when I first started, because we're thinking in terms of what you eat on a normal day-to-day basis. I'm sorry if there's some noise. I'm adjusting my headset a little. So we tend to store food based on what you're eating on a normal day-to-day basis, right? Maybe you have a sandwich for lunch, you have a light breakfast, or maybe you have a big breakfast and a light lunch, or maybe you eat heavy for all 3 meals of the day, or maybe you only eat 1 meal a day. Or maybe you eat salads. A lot of people eat very light, you know? But the problem with that, it's not inherently wrong if you're storing food based on how you eat during normal circumstances. The problem you run into is that an emergency situation or disaster is not normal circumstances, right? So you're running the risk at that time of not having enough calories, enough food on hand for yourself and your household. There's a pretty good chance, possibly, that you will be more active in an emergency situation or disaster. So you're going to need more fuel for your body. You're going to need more calories. So what I'm going to do in this video, in this live, actually, I'm going to show you how we calculate our food storage here. And I know a lot of other lifestyle preppers use this same method because we feel it is the best and the most accurate way to build your food storage. Okay. So let's see here. Let me pull up my windows and let me check chat because I'm off in other windows here. Hey, Tennessee, you made the mistake of prepping stuff you don't eat. Right, exactly. Yeah, and that's something I want to cover with this as well, because 90 days, right, Joe, for you, 90 days is that magic number. Yeah, and everyone's going to have a different number, and we're going to talk about that too. And I'm going to use an example as well. So let's see here. Let me pull my windows back up. I'm trying to check in the chat. Looks just like Drew Barrymore and you're kind of scared. Thanks a lot, Metal. Appreciate that. Okay. So I think where I want to start is, I think the first thing I'm going to tell you is you need to decide how long you want to prep for. How long is doable? Do you want to start off prepping for 1 week and then maybe build from there? Do you want to start with 2 weeks and then go from there? Or are you good with having just 1 week extra food or 2 weeks extra? Or you may even want to go more than that. You may have your eyes set on 1 month, 2 month, 6 months. I would encourage you to start with small increments just to kind of get used to doing this. I would suggest maybe start with 2 weeks. If you're thinking, I want to prep for 6 months, that's a great goal to have. That's awesome. You should absolutely do that. I would suggest still start with 2 weeks. That's kind of a nice manageable amount, and you can kind of get a feel for this, okay? Because you're not going to be going in the store and just buying anything and everything. That's the good part of this. So what you're going to do first of all, after you've decided how long you're prepping for, and for the purposes of this video, of this stream, we're going to use 14 days, 2 weeks as an example. Okay. So, and you can always set a short-term goal now, like I said, and you can very easily extend it later. I'm going to explain how to do that. Okay. Once you reach that initial 2 week goal. So if you're going with 2 weeks, which is 14 days, first thing I'm going to ask you to do would be to make a simple meal plan for that 14 days. Try to have something different that you're eating for your meals every day so there's not any monotony, okay? And think of the food items that you want to store or that you'd like to store and how you could use those. And you don't necessarily even have to cook. If you want to have something as simple as you're opening a can and eating ravioli out of a can, then that's fine. Whatever you choose to store, think of those items in your head and put it down on paper. Don't worry about serving size, don't worry about calories. Just think of items in general that you want to have and what you'd want to eat, like in generalities. Oh, we'd like to have oatmeal for breakfast. You can just write oatmeal. Okay. We'd like to have spaghetti for lunch or dinner. Write down spaghetti. We'd like to have some roast beef, canned roast beef or canned chicken. Just write that down. So you're just writing down the actual items that you want to eat. Okay, just to make a loose menu plan. Because once we're done with all this, you may want to go back and adjust all that. Once you're kind of maybe looking at things a little bit differently, once we get into calculating things. And I'm going to have to keep coming over here to check the stream. Let's see here. All right, so head back over here. All right, so now you've got your meal plan. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to take a piece of paper, or you can use your computer, however you want to do this. You're going to write down each person's name in your household that you're prepping for. So put every name on a straight line. Hello. Put every name on a different line, on a separate line. Okay. Then you're going to use an online calorie calculator, and I've actually linked one in the description. It's already there. The one that I linked to and the one that we've used is for the Mayo Clinic. You can use any calorie calculator that you want. I just picked that one. I like that it gives you 4 different numbers on there, 4 different calorie counts. It gives you everything from inactive or sedentary all the way up to highly active. So what you're going to do with that calorie calculator, you're going to enter everyone in your household into that calculator. And you're just entering age, height and weight, and whether they're male or female. And it will show you all 4 numbers. It'll highlight the one, you'll have to pick, I think, what the activity level is currently. Just pick anything. That doesn't really matter. Once you get to the final screen, it'll highlight whichever option you chose, but all options are there. It'll show you how many calories you would need to maintain your weight, and that's very important. You want to maintain weight. You don't want to lose, you don't want to gain, just to maintain your current weight, okay? And I would say write down all 4 of those numbers. If you're using the calorie calculator that I've got linked in the description, so next to everyone's name on your paper or on your computer, write down all 4 of those numbers, okay? And you're going to do that for everyone in your household. And once you've done that for everyone, I'm actually going to go ahead and share screen here, and I'm going to start showing you what I've got. And hey, Bug Dude, how are you doing? Hey, Klingon Princess, good to see you. All right, let me share real quick, and then I'm going to explain what you're looking at here. Let's see. Get my window. All right. Okay, so you guys should be seeing this up on the screen. Let me hop back over and make sure. Yep. All right, let me make it bigger. All right, so what you're looking there is I've used myself and Mr. as an example. So you see me on top there, Lucky Dame. On the far left, under inactive, that's the lowest that you can go for calories. It recommends for me, for my age, height, weight, and for my being a female, the least amount of calories to maintain my weight would be 1650. And if we're highly active, 2300. So at this point, what you're going to do is you need to decide based on whatever it is you're prepping for, whatever you think may come or could possibly happen, realistically, how active would your household be? Would you increase in activity from where you are right now? And you need to think about this. This may take a little bit of thought to kind of, may want to talk to other members of your household, spouse, roommates, family members, whoever's living with you in that household, to decide what kind of activity level you think you'll be at should whatever event happen or whatever disaster happen. Once you decide that, I just circled the amount there, just circled the numbers. Mr. and I agree that we would be highly active based on a number of factors here at our household, our property. Because we have property, because we'd be working outside a lot, our activity level would increase a good bit. So we would be highly active. So once you know what activity level you'll be at, circle those numbers for everyone and then add them up. For us, it comes up to 5,500 calories a day that we would need to store. And if we're going with 14 days, then we're going to multiply that 5,500 a day times 14 days, and that's 77,000 calories that we need to store for 2 weeks. That's 14 days. Now, I know a lot of people are probably going, ah, and having internal screaming. That sounds like an awful lot, and it is a lot. But hang on with me because it actually adds up really quickly, and I'm going to show you guys that as well. So just kind of an example there. I'm going to check the chat real quick. I see lots of people talking. I'm probably going to just go ahead and go through all this and I'll come back to chat because I don't want to get distracted too much. and y'all know how I get. I will fall into the chat and get social. So I'm going to do this first and then I'll come back to the chat and we can talk about it a little bit more. But that's the example there I wrote out for everyone so you can kind of get a good look at it. Again, I just wrote inactive on the far left just so you know that's inactive. The next one I think is moderately active, and then the third one is active, and then highly active. And they have different definitions on this calorie calculator for how they define being moderately active. Inactive is basically sedentary. You don't do much. And there are some people who are primarily sedentary for a multitude of reasons. And there are people who are highly active, who are go, 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 and you may be one of those people. But this is actually going to be for what activity level do you anticipate you will be functioning at during this situation. So think of it that way. It's not your current level. It's what you anticipate you'll be functioning at during a disaster or SHTF, if that's what you're prepping for, or a hurricane, if that's what you're prepping for. Whatever your situation is, think about that. And how active do you think you would be during that time? Because this is what you're going to be basing your food storage off of. Okay, so now that we've got that, we're going to move on to the next one. Oops, let me close up my window. Oh, you know what? I was actually going to show you the calorie calculator. Let me do that super quick. All right, so there we see the calorie calculator on the Mayo Clinic, and you just enter your age right here, height in feet and inches, weight, and then whether you are male or female, you click the next button and then it flips over and asks your current level of activity. Just pick whatever. It doesn't really matter because that's not what you're looking for. What you're looking for is that final screen where it gives you the 4 sets of numbers. Okay, so I'm going to close that out. Hey, roaming prepper, how are you doing? Welcome. All right, so once you have done that and you've decided the activity level of everyone, you've got your total calories, you've multiplied it by, we'll say 14 days. You can do it by however many days you want. So for this example, we're using 14 days. So now once you've got that, now you can start inventorying your food. So let me pull up my example on that. Actually, let me tell you about it first. So to start, you're going to actually make 4 columns and you're going to write down, you know what? Let me just pull up the visual. That'll be easier. Sorry, guys. Nope. There we go. That's the one I want. All right, there we go. So you should see that nice and big there. Whoops. Let me pull that down just a bit. Okay. Okay. So that is an example of how you're going to be doing your food storage to calculate by calories. So across the top there, you can see I wrote 77,000. That would be the total number of calories that Mr. and I would need if we were prepping for 14 days if we were highly active based on the calorie calculator. Okay. So you can see the first 2 entries there I've made across. You're going to do columns for food, servings, and that's the number of servings in the packaged food item. Okay. So if you have a can of soup, a can of chicken, whatever, a box of pasta, you're going to look at the nutrition label and you're going to look at how many servings are are there in that package, okay? And then you're going to go by the calories per serving. So it's number of servings times calories, and that equals the total number of calories in that packaged item. Okay? So for a 20-pound bag of white rice, and this is from Walmart because I just chose Walmart since they're prevalent. They're pretty much in every street corner, you know, they're across the United States. You don't have to worry about looking for specifically a Kroger or HEB or Meijer or Food Lion or anything else because those aren't always in every region. But a Walmart pretty much is. So use whatever works for you. But a 20-pound bag of white rice from Walmart has a total of 202 servings. It is 160 calories per serving, and that gives you 32,320 calories, guys. So that right there is almost half of your 14-day of our imaginary 14-day supply, right? So if you add in, I put an 8-pound bag of dried pinto beans because for some reason around here in our area, that's all we can find right now. In large quantity is pinto beans, which I hate, but you know, if we needed them, we would eat them, right? But an 8-pound bag, which is the largest I can find, has a total of 103 servings. And again, this is Walmart's brand. 103 servings at 100 calories apiece per serving is 10,300 calories. So technically, you really could, if we wanted to, we could stop right there and just do beans and rice because it's high calorie. That is more than half, a little more than half of our needed 14-day supply. So really, if we were okay with eating beans and rice from morning till night and we didn't care about, you know, anything else, having any other variety, or we weren't able to invest in having any other variety and we were just doing beans and rice, then we would double up on the rice. It would actually give us more than that 77,000. It would give us, I want to say 85,000, I believe, calories. But we could do 40 pounds of rice and 16 pounds of pinto beans, and we'd be set for 14 days. It could be that easy. And it would be that inexpensive as well. I want to point that out for people who are on a tight budget. It would be that inexpensive as well. It would be for the 8 pounds of beans and the 20 pounds of rice is roughly $15, $16-ish in our area. Prices will fluctuate depending on your region and where you live, but roughly for that amount of money, you know. But let's say you don't want beans and rice for breakfast. Maybe you want some of that oatmeal I was talking about earlier. You know, I mentioned maybe you want to have something different for breakfast. It's part of your meal plan, remember? We're going to refer to that meal plan because you're going to be buying what's on that meal plan. And that's going to keep you, like Tennessee pointed out, he's got stuff that he just kind of went and bought. If you go by that meal plan, that's going to keep you from doing that. So that's actually going to wind up saving you money. You're not going to go into a store and feel, you know, like you don't know what to get, feel panicky maybe, or you're unsure what to buy exactly. So you just kind of pick up a little of this, that, and the other, which we're all guilty of doing. Everyone does it. But this is to try and help you stay on track. Okay. Exactly, roaming. Yeah. Yeah. And I suggest at the beginning, grab pen and paper. You can do it on pen and paper like this. If you want to do it on a spreadsheet, you can. If anyone doesn't know, Prepper Nerd has a system, his food inventory system. It does all these crazy calculations for you. You know, you don't have to do anything except plug in your food and it does it for you. So if you're into that, you could do that as well. I just did on plain old good old pen and paper here so everyone could see it. So let's say you want to add some oatmeal there. So the 42-ounce oatmeal from, again, Walmart, and it's their brand, it's the Quick Oats, has 30 servings, 150 calories per serving for 4,500 calories for that canister of oats. Now, when you're doing this at this stage, I'm not looking at how many servings are in the container. I'm looking at calories because that's what you want to train yourself to look at. How many calories? Because you need a certain number of calories to put in your gas tank, so to speak, to keep functioning in the event of whatever situation. Okay. So I've got a few things on there. I tried to pick just a kind of a random selection of things that people tend to want to store or talk about storing. So we've got the oats on there. We've got tuna, as you can see, a 5-ounce can of tuna, and that's the tuna packed in water, white chunk tuna packed in water. Now, when you get tuna, if you don't know this, if you don't eat tuna very often, it's packed. If it's packed in water, you're going to drain that water off. Some people may consume it, but usually the amount on the back on the nutrition label, you'll see that it says in parentheses drained for a serving size, but 1 can of tuna is a serving size. So that makes it pretty easy. So if you actually had 15 cans of tuna, that's 1,500 calories. It adds up really quick. So while it looks like, you know, oh my gosh, that's an unobtainable amount of calories, that I could never do it. Of course you can. It's so easy, you know. Spam, I had to put spam on here because I know some of you really like spam. A can of spam has 6 servings in it, and it's 180 calories per serving. So in my mind, that's a good amount of calories because that's not a big piece of spam. So 1 can of spam has over 1,000 calories. It's 1,080 calories. I did not write down the sodium. Consume at your own risk. It's pretty salty. I know a lot of people like it. I'm not a big fan, but you know. Canned chicken. So canned chicken, that is based on 1 can of canned chicken. Again, it's Walmart brand. A lot of times I've had people ask me quite a bit um, with canned chicken because I talk about we store it, I like it, you know, it's easy, it's relatively inexpensive, you know, not as inexpensive as tuna, but people ask what brand of chicken. It doesn't matter. I've had so many different brands of canned chicken, and truthfully, they really do all taste exactly the same. The only difference that I've seen is on the nutrition label, you may see a negligible difference in the amount of sodium from one can to the next, but they're all pretty darn much the same, unless it says something specifically like it's a lemon pepper chicken or it's got some kind of seasoning in it or something like that. But just plain old canned chicken, it's pretty much all going to be the same. Pretty darn close anyway. So get whatever you can afford. That's my suggestion. Get what you can afford. So canned chicken, this great value brand from Walmart has 14 servings in it. I did not write down what size can it is. I apologize for that, but uh, is 70 calories per serving of this canned chicken. And usually what they're going to call a serving is going to be like 2 or 3 ounces. Again, don't worry about serving size. You're going to be looking for how many calories, because that's what we're doing. We're not storing food based on the number of meals. We're storing based on calories. So that 1 can of chicken with 14 servings in it is 980 calories. That's great, right? And of course, I had to put ramen on here because everybody seems to love ramen. A lot of people store ramen. It's pretty inexpensive. We don't store ramen just because we don't. You know, it's not something that we eat, so we don't store it. If it's not something that you would eat or that you normally eat, then don't store it. Ramen, a 12-pack, is 24 servings. Did you guys realize that in one little pack, the little bag of ramen, that's 2 servings in that bag? I bet you eat the whole thing though, don't you? I know most people do. But it's 24 servings at 190 calories a serving. So it's actually pretty calorie dense, you know? So a 12 pack of ramen would be a little over 4,500 calories, 4,560 calories. So that's just kind of giving you examples. You kind of get the gist of it there. You're going to multiply the number of servings times the number of calories per serving, and that's going to give you the total number of calories for that can, for that box of pasta, for whatever. And just these items here on the screen, guys, totals up to 53,840 calories. And that's just for one item of each, plus the, beans and rice, which make up the brunt of the calories. But you can adjust that. So that's why I'm saying when you make your meal plan initially, you may come back and want to adjust a little bit. Maybe you don't want 20 pounds of rice. Maybe you kind of get into it and you start figuring, maybe we want 10 pounds of rice and we want to add more canned chicken, or we want more ramen, or we want regular spaghetti, which spaghetti, or maybe you want to add some powdered milk. You can do a lot of things because maybe you don't want to make your oatmeal with water. So maybe you want to get a bag of powdered milk so you can make your oatmeal with milk. You're going to count the calories that are in that bag of milk, right? Powdered milk. So there's a lot of different ways you can go here with this. I'm going to take this off the screen. Once you get into it and you start figuring it out, there's a little bit of work on the front end like this, to figure out your meal plan and get your numbers, but it's worth it. It's going to save you so much headache in the long run. It's going to save you money. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll through a little bit. All right, let me close this out. Sorry, I'm closing out another window here, guys, so I can see what's going on in chat. Okay. So, we have 25 people watching. Awesome. Okay. So, I hope this has been helpful. I know this is kind of quick and dirty here. I went through it pretty quickly, but it's not that hard, I don't think. To me, the hardest part is figuring out what kind of meal plan. But once you have your meal plan, say we've got it for 2 weeks. I didn't actually make up a meal plan. I guess I could have done that. That would have made it even better. But once you make up your meal plan, the things that you want to eat for the 2 weeks, and then you meet your goal of 14 days. You say, we've got our full 14 days worth of food. Now we want to store enough for a month. We want to add 2 more weeks onto it. Easy. Now take that 2 weeks that you just bought and just buy it again. You see what I'm saying? You just double it. Same thing if you're prepping for 1 week at a time, double it. If you're doing 1 week at a time, I would suggest after the second week, maybe try and make either a new meal plan. It doesn't have to be 100% brand new, but maybe add in some new items to kind of add a little variety to your mix, right? And then you can buy those items for 2 weeks and you just kind of keep going from there. And as you go, if you reach a certain point, you can make a new meal plan if you want, expand your meal plans as often as you want, or you can eat the same things over and over, if it doesn't bother you. So, all right. Okay, so that's what I've got for that, guys. And wow, I did it in about 29 minutes. That's pretty amazing. I feel like I blew through it. So I'm going to come back over here to the chat. If anyone has questions, comments, suggestions, please put it in the chat. If you're watching this in replay, feel free to put any questions or comments in the comment section, or you're welcome to email me as well. I do have my email address in the description box below. All right, all the way back to the beginning. I see hellos. Let's see here. And I see Joe saying, yes, Joe, I know you're prepping for 90 days. That's what you felt was the best for you. Everyone's going to be a little bit different, And the examples I gave of some of the food items there, they may not be good for everyone. That's why they're just examples. It's not a list of this is what you must go get. It's just suggestions, just things that, a lot of different people store, but it may not work for you and your family or your household. It may not work for your dietary needs, But the main thing was I wanted to get out there this super easy, basic, I don't even want to call it a formula because it's not really a formula. Just this is how you calculate. It's in my opinion, a better, more accurate way of storing your food and determining what you're going to need instead of just going to the store and grabbing anything or everything kind of willy-nilly and feeling like, yeah, I think that's enough. Because when we do that, we're thinking in terms of how we're eating right now, not how we're going to be eating under stress or under increased physical activity or both at some point in the future. And that's what we're trying to anticipate. That's what we're trying to prep for. Let's see here. Tiger, you're storing for the long haul, but definitely break it up into bites. Oh, yeah, definitely. It's great to have that. I've seen a lot of people saying that they want to have at least 6 months of food, and that's a great goal. There's a lot of people who say they want a year's worth of food. Again, great goal. Break it down into bite sized chunks. It makes it much more manageable that way, especially if you're doing the meal plans and then you just double it. If you have 2 weeks at a time, then you can double it. And now you've got a month. Keep using that same 2 weeks. If you want to, like I said, add to that meal plan, maybe add another week's worth of meals at some point. If you think after a couple of months you'd be tired of eating the same 14 meals, then mix it up. Add some more variety to your stores. Something I did not put on here as an example was vegetables. I didn't put soup on there. There were a lot of things I didn't put on there. I was just trying to kind of give you an idea. I definitely recommend make sure you get your vegetables on there. They are not high calorie. So they're very low calorie, but they are very necessary to our diet, even in a short term situation. You're going to want to make sure you have your vegetables in there. I know a lot of people don't like vegetables. Find whatever you can tolerate. If you don't like vegetables in general, find something you can tolerate and store that because it is important. You've got to have your vitamins and nutrients in there. You're going to want to have that fiber in there. It's important. So just keep that in mind. All right, let's see here. Let me scroll on down. Bear Independent. Yes, I know Bear Independent. Oh, he does a 7 meal plan. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, if you're doing 1 week at a time. I know that some people recommend doing 7 days. Some will suggest 14 days. I'm saying whatever works for you, whichever you want to do, but do the meal plan and follow that. You know, absolutely. Yeah. And Bear Independent has, he's one, I actually adjusted our numbers just a little bit. And that's the other thing, guys, with the calorie calculator. If you feel like the numbers are maybe a little low, you can bump them up a little bit, if you feel it's a little low. The numbers it gave for me, I feel are actually a little low. So in actuality, we actually store a little bit more than what I showed you on screen because I allow a little more calories for myself just because. Now, if it were to turn out that I didn't need all those calories, well, then we just have extra food and I'm not going to be upset about that. But you can adjust the calories a little bit. Um, let's see here. But Bear Independent talks about for a grown adult male, I believe he's the one that I saw who said that it should be 3,200 calories. Well, that came up for Mr. Anyway on his calorie calculator for highly active. And we had already decided we knew we would be highly active if something were to happen. So that worked out for him. But yeah, I do recommend, check out Bear Independent definitely. I believe he's covered it quite a bit. I don't know if Viking Preparedness has or not. I haven't looked at all his videos, so I don't know. I know they are affiliated in real life, so I don't know if Viking has put anything out as well. But yes, Bear talks about calorie content, caloric intake as well, and prepping with caloric intake. All right, let's see here. Let me scroll down. All right, I see more people coming in and saying hi, hi. Let's see here. Yes, I see you talking about 90 days for food, TP, laundry, soap, bathing items, hygiene items, coffee. You ready? Yes, we had to we had to put in some coffee here. We've got a year's worth of instant, freeze dried instant, and I'm a big supporter of getting freeze dried coffee. It will last for a very, 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 very long time, and you don't necessarily have to take it out of the sealed package. You can if you want to, the sealed canister, whatever it comes in. You can take it out and repackage it if you really want to, but it should be fine on the shelf as long as it remains sealed. Let's see here. All right, let's go down. Let's go down. I think people think they are going to just sit around, but you're going to be on high alert. Well, and see, that's the thing, Tennessee. Uh, it's hard to say. Some areas people. I think some people initially, depending on whatever situation. I mean, everyone's kind of got something different in mind how they think. You know, things may go in the world, or what kind of weather event may come along. Weather events, I think if you live in an area where you usually get a certain type of weather, you should probably already pretty much have in mind the level of activity you'll be at during that event. So you should already have a pretty good idea in mind, of, hey, if there's a really, really bad storm, if there's a tornado, um, you know, what kind of activity level will we be at? If you're in an apartment, you may not be at any kind of level. Um, or you may feel that you will be at a little bit higher activity level. Whereas here at our place, if there were to be strong storms and taking down trees or something like that, we'd be out there with a chainsaw and cutting stuff down, clearing things. So we would definitely be more active. So, you know, um, yeah, I don't know. That's hard to answer. But yeah, I think a lot of people do think they're just gonna be sitting around waiting maybe for someone else to come take care of them. And depending on what the situation is, that may not be the case. So yeah, I agree with you there. Let's see here. Yeah, I was wondering if anyone was going to bring that up. If you're not losing weight, with others, you might become a target. Well, yes and no. I mean, I guess it depends on what kind of populated area you live in, and if you plan on associating with others with any kind of frequency. Um, I think for people to notice weight loss like that, like what we're talking about, that's actually a pretty popular theme in a lot of preparedness fiction stories. Is people, it's however long into an SHTF event, and people have lost a tremendous amount of weight. They're so skinny, and they're wandering town to town, or they're looking for food. They're so down and weak because they have no food, and they come upon our intrepid hero or the group of survivors, and they're all well fed, nourished, healthy, happy because they prepped. Um, I don't know, man. I think by the time someone could get to that point of being that thin and having noticeable, like really noticeable weight loss, being gaunt like that, it's we're pretty far into it. At least a couple of months, at least, you know. So by that point, I think we probably all have a pretty good idea of whether we want to be going out socializing with folks and letting them see what we may or may not have. I mean, our household will be on lockdown with our group, so I don't need to socialize with anybody else outside of um, Casa de Lucky. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I get what you're saying, though. Yeah, you could be a target, but you could be a target for absolutely anything. You could be a target because you are upright and breathing, and they just happen to see you that day. You know. So let's see. Scroll on down. You're the most active person in the house and eat the least of all. Yeah, well, everybody's a little bit different. So you kind of have to adjust. There's some days where I am not very hungry at all. I hardly eat a thing. And then there are days where I am absolutely ravenous. I am starving, and it's like I can't eat enough. And there's no rhyme or reason to it, that I know of. So some folks may be like that too. We're like, I hardly eat anything. And then suddenly you're starving, hungry, and you eat everything in the house, or it feels like it. A lot of times in a stressful event as well, and if you're going through a disaster event, a traumatic event, a lot of people tend to eat emotionally. Emotional eating, right? It's kind of a coping thing. A lot of people will eat for that. A lot of times people will eat out of boredom too. I mean, look at all of 2020. There was a joke going around that people gained weight being home. Well, it wasn't because they were home necessarily. It's because they were home and grazing and eating out of boredom. So there's always that kind of factor in as well. Hey, Firefly, how are you doing? Good to see you. All right, let me scroll on down here. And I said hi to Roaming Prepper. Good to see you. All right, let's see. I see lots of hellos. All right. You just finished rendering lard, made leftovers into dog food. Well, I'm sure the dog's going to appreciate that. He's probably over there licking his lips, right? All right. All right, so Joe says he's going the soup route with with two 500-calorie meals twice a day and energy drinks. Interesting. So in an emergency situation, you're going to be doing 1,000 calories total for meals and energy drinks. Does that 1,000 calories just for 2 meals, or is that 1,000 calories include the energy drinks? Oh, you know what? I just realized energy drinks. I'm thinking of, protein drinks like Ensure and stuff like that. Huh. Um, are you doing that currently? Is that what you're saying your current diet is, or that's what you're planning to do in an event, an emergency situation that you're keeping in your prepper pantry? Let's see here. Oh yeah, well that's a whole nother thing, Tiger. That's why I'm saying for the purposes of storing food, completely ignore serving size. Because depending on the variety of things you have, you may not necessarily be eating a serving size. So that's why I was saying with if you did just beans and rice. So that example I showed for Mr. and I, if we were prepping for 14 days and we wanted to do only beans and rice, that would be a whole lot of beans and rice to be eaten all through the day, from sun up to sundown. So we definitely be exceeding, a serving size because we're looking at getting the calorie intake that we need, that our bodies are needing to do all the hard work that we plan to be doing around the property and around the home, right? So yeah, if we actually went by serving size, yeah, we'd probably all be in for a shocker because most people um, exceed the average serving size of food. All right, let's see. Scroll down, scroll down. Pure anger, rage, as well as smokes and energy drinks drive you to drive me in life to succeed. Hey, whatever motivation you need, man. Whatever works for you. Let's see here. My secret prepper, yes. Black eyed peas probably do have more calories. Like I said, I used pinto beans because that's what's available in my area. That's what is in abundance. So the point I was making is use what's in your area or what you have access to. So I didn't want to put anything up. If you have an abundance of black eyed peas in your area and that's what you're storing, awesome. Around here, right now, it's pinto beans. And like I said, I actually don't much care for pinto beans. They're okay. It's not my first choice. But if we were starting prepping right now and that's all I had available to me, which it pretty much would be, except for I think there's like the odd 1 pound bag of black beans or something at the store or lentils here and there, then it's going to be mostly pinto beans. So yes, you can use other foods, whatever works best for you, however calorie dense you want to go with it, then do it. I was just like I said, mainly wanting to show everybody this is how you calculate it. And this is a better and more accurate way, in my opinion, of doing it. Some people disagree with that, and that's fine. But I still say I think this is a better way of doing it. Let's see. It took you approximately 5 minutes to stop buying anything I won't eat. Yeah, once you realize you've got some stuff, you're like, well, I don't want to eat that. Why did I buy this? And you realize you've wasted money and it's not something you want to eat. You know, that's why we say a lot of times in preparedness, you want to make sure you're storing things that you eat and eating what you store. So you don't want to grab a whole bunch of things. Last year during 2020, I saw so many people panic buying uh, cases of ramen, Spam, Vienna sausages, or Vienna, however you want to pronounce it, Vienna sausages, things that they don't normally eat, including beans and rice. There were so many people who scooped up all the beans and rice. And obviously, it's high calorie. You can have beans and rice, and putting beans and rice together does make nutritionally a complete protein. So it's nutritionally sound, in that regard. It's a complete protein. Um, but maybe they don't normally eat those foods. So if they had actually, if last year had turned out to be a lot worse and they had to survive on what they bought, I laugh about it and I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you don't normally eat these foods and you go buy them simply because they are inexpensive and you throw them in a closet or on a shelf, and then when you need that extra food, you go to eat it, you are going to be in a world of hurt, literally. Your your GI system, your GI tract, your stomach is not going to like what you are suddenly putting in it. If you don't normally eat beans, you are in for a surprise, my friend. Not a pleasant one. That's probably why there was a TP shortage last year because people were buying things and eating things that they had never eaten before and it was not agreeing with them. So I'm just saying, let's see here. All right, let's see, let's see. Oh, the HEB chopped ham is faux spam. Passable, but not awesome. Yeah, I can say we don't have a can of spam in this household. Um, I grew up eating it, so I have an aversion to it. Much in the same way that I have an aversion to bologna. I would eat bologna before I'll eat spam again. I'll put it that way. I just really, really don't care for it. That's just me, though. So since we don't like it, we don't store it, right? Hi, in between prepping. How are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I know I'm far behind the chat trying to catch up here. I wanted to get all that stuff out in the first half before I came back over to the chat and we could talk a little bit. I wanted to get all the information out at the front for anyone who wanted to see, wanted to see what I was talking about and get to the point. Now we can socialize a little bit and chat a little bit more about the topic. I cannot eat as much as sandwich ever since I stopped eating more than one or two. I'd be sick. Yeah, exactly. Well, your stomach has shrunk. Absolutely. Yeah. Once you've trained yourself to, eat smaller amounts, then you're eating smaller amounts. Honestly, I don't know if I could put down the number of calories a day that is recommended or that I kind of bumped up to just a little bit. I did a bit of research and decided I needed to bump mine up just a little bit. So I did. I don't know if I could consume that number of calories in a day, but I don't want to lower it because what if I would wind up consuming it? What if I really do need that? I mean, it's being recommended for a reason, not just because they made up some number. There's science behind these calorie calculators, so so we're going to store that number of calories, and if for some reason it turns out we don't need to consume that many, again, like I said, great. We still have the food stored there, so it lasts just even longer, right? But if we do need it, we've got it. Let's see. Hey, Arc Livin. You talking about beans again? Look, don't you get started on this again, man. I'm trying to keep everyone away from that. Beans and rice. Yeah, beans and rice are high calorie and it's complete protein, and you can store just beans and rice if you don't mind eating it all day, every day. Make sure you've got seasonings at least to put in it. Change up the flavor a little. Let's see. Let me scroll on down here. I know I'm way behind. I'm way, way behind. This is back in the beginning. So let me come on down. And this is about ramen, Q Kitchen. Your kid eats 2 packages, but she doesn't eat the seasonings, and she adds our own dehydrated veggies and can. Oh, that's a good suggestion. Yeah. I mean, I have had ramen in the past. It's not something I don't eat it now. We don't store it. The seasoning packet, in my opinion, has too much sodium. That's just for me and my taste. But if we were to get ramen, and I have considered it, I'm going to actually revisit. Just personally, I want to take a look at the ramen, and since it seems to be pretty calorie dense, I want to compare that to just regular spaghetti and see how that works out. Because if it looks like it's a better deal than spaghetti, then we may store ramen and just not eat the seasoning packet and do something similar to this, add our own veggies and some canned meat to it. Which would be something that, if you're making your meal plan, you need to put that on there. If you're using your ramen, then add some vegetables to it, a can of vegetables, a can of meat, and there's a meal. If you've got that 20-pound bag of white rice, you can make rice. You can take a can of soup or a can of stew and pour it over there, and there's a meal. Same thing with spaghetti. You could take maybe a cream soup and pour it over that spaghetti, or make the spaghetti into some soup. You could do a lot of things. And this is just super basic stuff. I'm not even talking about if you want to store corn or cornmeal and you want to make cornbread. If you have chickens at your home or your homestead or your property, so you're getting eggs every day, you can use those eggs. You want to count those, eggs into your preps. If your chickens are laying on average, X number of eggs a day or a week, figure that into your preps because you're going to be eating it, right? So there's a lot that you can take into consideration here. Hey, Ohio Prepper, welcome. I am really far behind, guys. I'm going to try and scroll it on down here and get caught up. Let's see. People talking, and saying hello. It's so nice. Hey, Hava, it's good to see you. How you been doing? Good to see you. Let's see. you've got 6 months from yourself and your 3 children. That is awesome. Wow, that is fantastic. You gotta restock your water. Yeah, that's the thing, you gotta keep your water up, especially if you're stocking or, storing dried foods, especially like beans, dried beans. I've mentioned it before, guys. Dried beans take a lot of water to rehydrate and to cook. For 1 pound of beans, on average, they're all gonna be slightly different, but on average, 1 pound of dried beans, you're going to soak them overnight in about 6 to 8 cups of water. That's about, I believe it's a quart of water. And then you're going to use that the next morning. You're going to pour that water off and you're going to use the same amount, another 6 to 8 cups, so another quart to cook it. So that plays into, I'll probably try at this point somewhere to throw a link across the top to my video on water storage. You've got to make sure you've got enough water stored on hand for cooking and hygiene and everything else, consumption. If you're only storing 1 gallon of water a day, you've just used half your water just to cook 1 pound of beans, you know. So something to keep in mind. There's a lot of things we have to keep, in mind and kind of juggle, but take it one step at a time. You'll get there. A lot of you are probably already there. Let's see here. Scroll on down, scroll on down. Let's see. I see talking about sugar prices. If you have 2 weeks of rice and pintos, the next time add rice and a different bean and so on. Exactly. Yeah, you could add different beans. You don't have to buy just pinto beans. You know, for simplicity's sake, I said just double it, but you can get any bean you want. If you want to make sure it's the same number of calories and servings, then take a peek on the back of the package and make sure. If it's different, then you just add that to your list and you calculate how many calories you've got there. Dried onions, yeah, seasoning and spices are essential. They are essential. And I know I've said it in the chat on some other streams. I'll say it here live if I haven't said it before. Guys, get your seasonings and spices. I cannot emphasize that enough. If you haven't noticed, or if it's not really hitting your area yet, there is starting to be a really big shortage of seasonings and spices. Even our Sam's Clubs in our area, the few that we go to around, um, they are they're getting thin. They're getting thin. And I find that disturbing myself. We have a huge spice cabinet. I have increased our spice cabinet tremendously, and it was well worth it. I would rather have loads and loads of spices to keep things from getting boring, because food fatigue is a real thing. That's why I said if you don't mind eating beans and rice from sun up to sundown, you don't get food fatigue, then go for it. But it's a real thing. Seasonings and spices, packets of gravy, things like that, sauces. Heck, I would say mustard and ketchup, but sometimes, you have to refrigerate ketchup. Let's see here. Let me come on down, see if I can catch up with everybody. Went high on calories since you have 3 growing kids. That's a great statement there, Bug. Thank you. Yeah, I knew somebody was probably going to ask about kids, and we don't have kids, so it's hard for me to answer that, but I'm glad you said that. That is something to take into consideration if you have kids of any age. If they're young, if they're a little bit older, shoot, teenagers will put down some food. I know that. Um, but you want to maybe go a little bit higher on them because kids are pretty active anyway, just on any given day in general. Kids are usually pretty high energy and they're growing. They are, they may be picky eaters sometimes, but, you know, um, they might surprise you in how much they'll start eating all of a sudden. If your child is a light eater currently, one morning you may wake up and they are eating you out of house and home. So let's see here. Hey, Ark. Oh, you're reworking how you do. You know what? I'm going to be super transparent, honest here. We didn't do it by calorie count for years. It's only been in the last couple of years. It was before COVID. I started changing it over, and it's really hard to do for me. I feel like it's so hard once you've got a lot of things already stored. It's hard because, it's hard just because you have to go through everything. And if you have a large variety of food, um, because you're planning on storing for a long period of time, more than 2 weeks, more than a month, then you've got a lot of items to sort through. So it was kind of a pain in my butt, to be quite honest. Um, and I actually, once Prepper Nerd created his system, honestly, we use that. I don't get any kickbacks or anything like. I'm just saying he has that system. We use it. I got in as a beta tester, which was really awesome, and started using it that way. I like it. It works for me. It may not be in everyone's budget to do it because I know it's a paid service now. So, it's something to consider if you want to do that with him. It is a good service, and I do recommend it. If it's something you don't want to do or you're not financially in the position to do that right now, prepping needs to take your finances for the moment. I totally get that. You can also do it on pen and paper, like I just showed, or make a very simple spreadsheet. And just you just have to keep up with it. That's the main thing. It's going to require more maintenance and more upkeep than I think the Prepper Nerds system, because it's got all the bells and whistles and all this stuff. It does all the things for you. So, but yeah, it can be done definitely, and it's important, I think, to do. It was a little eye-opening to us once we got through everything to see how much food we did and did not have, because we thought we had X amount and we really had Y amount. But we feel more confident now in what we have, in our system. So, all right, let's see here. What's this? Are you storing canned cat food for Bug Dude's kitty? Yes, morale food. Thank you. I thought about doing just a separate video, or guess probably really a stream, because I don't do videos on morale food, on morale preps. Having things in your sorry, I'm futzing with my headset again. Having some morale preps. We always think of morale preps as being food, and it can be to a certain extent. I think of morale preps being not just food. Um, because I have in my mind, I don't want to encourage or get into the habit or create a habit of relying on food as a reward or as somewhere to find happiness or joy, something like that. Maybe I'm getting a little armchair shrinky dinky there, but that's something I think about. So we do have morale preps. Yes, we store hard candies. So if you want sweets, I highly recommend hard candy, whatever your favorite hard candy is. And I'm emphasizing hard candy because it's less likely to melt. It'll store for much, much longer than anything else, than like gummies or chocolates. That's not to say that we don't have some chocolates, because we do. Dark chocolate will last longer than milk chocolate. But we do have hard candies. In fact, we just added a couple more bags of hard candy to our preps recently because it was looking a little thin at the Walmart. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Every time I go, I'm seeing it thinner and thinner. So let's see here. Let me scroll it on down. A few goodies for the crap times. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yes, and prep for your animals. Absolutely. Animals, your pets, your livestock, all the above. All right. What is this? We're a mouse in Ark Levin's pocket. Oh, okay, I see. Hey, Sister Marie. All I can say is, holy cow, a lot to calculate from pantry. Yeah. It does seem overwhelming. That's why I want to tell people as we go, it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. It really isn't. Just bear with me. It does look like a lot, and it looks like some huge unobtainable amount of calories, but it's really not. When you start writing things down, like I said, beans and rice alone, gosh, that takes up a lot. And then just adding, 1 can of each of those items, that brought it up quite a bit. So, if you increase your amount of chicken or your amount of vegetables or soups or stews, you'll be there in no time. You really will. Let's see, let's see, meal plan, yes, 30-day meal plan rotation. How would you deal with leftovers? How can you cook per person? I don't cook per person. So I get what you're asking there. I think you're asking if everyone is at a different calorie level. Yes. I don't cook per person. I would cook, so like the number of calories I had on the sheet there for myself was 2,300 and Mr. was 3,200, right? So I'm not making a separate meal for myself than I am for him. This is where you're going to start getting into a little bit more of figuring out serving size and how much you need to be eating, per meal, things like that. I didn't get into any of that. I didn't want to scare people off, to be frank. I didn't want to scare anyone off and go, this is way too much work, because it is a little bit of work, but it's necessary. It is necessary. You can't just go in the store and grab things and assume what you have in your cart is going to last you for however long you think it should last you, because it probably won't. So there's much bigger rabbit hole to go down, mathematically, maybe simple math, just to figure out serving size. How much rice would I eat? How much would I eat at each meal? Or should I be eating at each meal? How many servings of beans would I be eating at each meal? How am I going to determine what that serving size is if power was out and I didn't have my scale? There's all kinds of rabbit holes you can go down with that, and I don't want to scare people off. It is a very good question. Um, but that's kind of where you would go from there. Once start figuring out your meal plan. Okay, this is how many calories per day total everyone's getting. Maybe one person gets a little bit more, somebody else is eating less. You just kind of have to start figuring out how you're going to manage that on a day-to-day basis. I feel like it's a very vague answer, and I'm sorry, but that's kind of where you have to go from there. As far as leftovers, um, my cooking right now, we have very few leftovers. If we do have leftovers currently, it's made into a meal, or it becomes the meal the next day, or the same day. So we don't have we have very, very little waste right now under normal current circumstances. I would suggest for people to learn to cook in that manner if possible. Try not to have as little waste as possible, as little leftovers. Or if you do have leftovers, I don't want to say recycle it, but you basically turn that into your meal the next day. Or when you make your meal plan, so when you're doing your meal plan, if you make however much rice, you're going to have leftover rice, you can use it in your next meal. You see what I'm saying? So it's not going to waste. So try and keep using that food, right? And I've talked in the past, I know a lot of people have an aversion to leftovers. Um, I'm sorry if you have an aversion to leftovers. I think, that's something you may need to work on getting past, or learn how to cook pretty accurately for each and every meal so that there is no waste. That's the only solutions I can come up with for you. All right, let me scroll it on down here. Let's see. 1,000 in food and 500 in energy drinks. You do it now, and it's what you'll do after. Energy drinks, man, that is, that hurts my heart. Literally, probably hurts my heart a little bit. That's a lot of caffeine. But hey, if that's what's working for you, then you do what's working for you. And that's the thing. Everybody's going to be so very different. So, all right. Hello, how are you doing? Good to see you. Christ is the answer. Good to see you. Welcome. I'm woefully behind here in the comments. The first half I talked about the topic at hand, and now I'm trying to get through everyone. All right, I'm gonna scroll it down. Hey, Milkmaid, how are you doing? Let's see here. Let me keep on coming down, scrolling. I see lots of hellos. Oh, you got your stove and chimney liner done. Excellent. Very nice. Yeah, I bet that's a relief. That's a pain in the tush. You guys do it yourself? I'm assuming so, since you said that you got it all done and it's ready to go. Thought of ways to get rid of food packaging. Yes, I have actually. Boxes are easy to burn or even recycle as insulation within the house or warmth. However, I need ideas for can and jar waste. Yeah, that is something I am thinking about recently, actually, Ohio Prepper. Thanks for bringing that up. Um, what to do in the event maybe trash service is not picking up, or they're picking up maybe on a very limited or a sporadic basis. Now, if they're still picking up here and there, then you just have to save your trash up until they come and pick it up. If service were to stop, well, I'm not exactly sure what to do there. I've thought about it, and I don't have a good solution. We are in a rural area, so we can actually, and we do have a burn pile where we can burn, branches. We could burn things like paper, cardboard, things like that. Plastic, don't burn plastic. And I'm going to say it again for the cheap seats in the back, guys. Do not burn plastic. It gives off fumes that are very, very toxic, even a little piece. Trust me, we had a neighbor that did that one time, and fire department and or police may or may not have been called on them because it was horrible. It was like this cloud hanging over the whole road. It was horrible. So please, please do not burn plastic. As to what to do with it instead, I'm not entirely certain. I've had thoughts along the lines with plastic. If it's something soft like a plastic packaging, like a wrapper, um, I don't know if you've seen this, but you can take plastic shopping bags, like the plastic bags that you get at grocery store or wherever, and cut them into strips and crochet them into maybe a reusable shopping bag or something like that. And I've wondered if that could be done with some plastic packaging. Some of it may be too stiff and might not would hold, but it might also could possibly be twisted into some kind of a makeshift rope. I would hope we would not ever get to that to that level of needing to do that. I really do. I hope, man, I hope that, I just hope trash service keeps running. How about that? But yeah, I have thought of it, and there are different ideas I've kind of come up with and I'm thinking of. Nothing, nothing for certain though. Just different ideas. I don't know if any of us would have a solid idea until or unless something like that were to happen. Unfortunately. If anyone's got any ideas, please put it in the comment section on the video if you're watching in replay, or drop it in the chat and let's talk about it. I'm currently at an hour and 8. I'm going to keep going until I can catch up to the bottom. So I'm going to be skipping along here pretty quick, guys. Let's see. No spam here. Yeah, no spam here either, Milkmaid. Hey, Independent Men United. How are you? Good to see you. Bologna and spam. Oh, no, that's okay. Oh, no. Not for me. No, thank you. You can have my share in the world, Metal. How about that? You can have my share in the world. Let's see. Scroll on down. I see hellos. Cans and jars can be repurposed. Think cans on a line for perimeters, poke a hole in the bottom for growing starts. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. Okay. So there we go. Now, a glass jar you could definitely reuse. I would probably keep a glass jar if I could wash it out and it had a good lid on it. If it was a good jar, that could be useful. Maybe not for yourself, but if you needed to barter with somebody, maybe they had a need for a jar. You know what I mean? Fat Man Prepper, welcome. The way I prep is easy. Take one meal and I stock up until I have 52 meals 1 week, and then I move to the next meal. I do this until I have 7 meals times 52. Yeah, that's another way of doing it. It's just a different way of looking at it. Whatever works best for you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see here. Come on down. I see a lot of people saying they eat once a day. Let's see. Dollar Tree has packages of egg noodles that are great. Yeah, I like egg noodles. They're pretty good. We've got some egg noodles in storage. They're pretty tasty. Hey, Survival Buzz, how are you doing? Good to see you. Let's see. All right. Oh my gosh. All right, I have to come back up to this one. Cornbread for the apocalypse. Exactly. Not just for Canada anymore. Now it's for the apocalypse. Oh, hey. Hey, North Shore, how you doing? Why not put spaghetti sauce over spaghetti? Well, absolutely. Yeah, if you want to store spaghetti sauce, sure. I was just coming up with different ideas for, a lot of people will store stew and soup and what have you. But yeah, you can store spaghetti sauce. There is jarred sauce. Whatever it is that you want to store for yourself and your household, everyone's going to have something different in their preps. You know, some people may not want to store ready-made spaghetti sauce. They may want to store just maybe tomato sauce and seasonings to, flavor it up. Maybe some Italian seasoning to put in it. You know, all kinds of things you can prep. It's endless possibilities. That's why I'm encouraging make a meal plan. Make a meal plan. That'll keep you focused. And then as you start doing it more and you start kind of building up some confidence in your preps as well and feeling better about what you've got, you'll start thinking a little more outside the box even on what you want to make for meals. All right, I'm going to scroll and skim down here really quick. 2.5 gallons a day. That's for water. I have 2 weeks worth though. Well, that's great though. That's 2 weeks worth of water. Everyone has to start somewhere, and I've said it many, many times before, storing water is probably the most difficult thing because water is so incredibly heavy, and, I mean, to be very honest, there's no way that we could ever store enough water. I I just can't see where we could ever store enough water. Um, we have water stored, and I would love for us to have much more than we have, but there's just not the room for it. There's just not space for it, you know? So if we were to ever have to tap into our water stores, we will have to immediately start looking for more water to replace it, to try and keep it replenished so that we're not just working off of dwindling water supplies. And I would encourage that for anybody, you know? Make sure you keep replenishing and not just have your supplies dwindling and not trying to uh, keep putting more food or water into them as you're going. A lot of soup mix, quick and easy. Oh, let's see. A lot of soup, quick and easy. Can eat in the can, no water. Yeah, exactly. There are some things you can eat out of the can. You can eat soup out of the can. You could have raviolis out of the can. You could have SpaghettiOs. There are all kinds of things you can eat out of a can. You can eat chicken out of a can. You could eat anything in a can. You can pretty much eat out of the can. I probably have eaten it out of the can. Would I have preferred it to be on a plate, and nice and hot? Absolutely. Did it affect the taste in any way or keep me from being otherwise full because I ate it out of a can? Nope. Shoot, I've eaten things out of a can when a ice storm took out power, not here in Texas on the East Coast. And I was happy to have our preps, I can tell you that. Let's see here. I'm going to keep scrolling down. I see talk of different kinds of beans. Yep, different beans. Ramen seasoning packs to add to rice. That's a good idea, North. Yeah. Ramen seasoning packs to add to rice. Well, and see, to me, that would make much more sense because to me, the seasoning packs are kind of salty and that would work well with the rice. Yeah. Good tip. Good tip. Yeah. Chicken and beef broth. Absolutely. Yeah. You can do a lot with broth. I would recommend store bouillon cubes or store the powder. There's a kind that you can get where once you open it, you have to put it in the refrigerator. It's a soft paste. It has to be refrigerated. So for long-term storage, I'd say bouillon cubes or the powdered kind. I like the Knorr, Knorr brand. To me, it's pretty tasty. So, hey, Ghetto, how are you doing? You leave a cup of liquid laundry soap in your detergent bottles and fill them up with water and store them that way. Oh, for to have like soap on hand, you mean? If you're leaving liquid soap in it? Hey, Stuart. There's my other mod. Good to see you. I am trying desperately to catch up to everybody, but I know you all keep talking, so I think it's futile. You have a spice. So do I, actually, Tiger. We have a spice closet as well, and too many to fit in the spice, just fit what I made the spice rack that hangs over the door. So it's kind of overflowed into a little basket on a shelf. So I'm not upset about it. I started laying in spices heavy last year. I'm thankful that we were ahead of people on that. Everyone was grabbing rice and beans, and I was saying, "Oh hell no! Here's what's going to be short. Get some spices, get some seasonings, get the gravy packets, get powdered gravy mix." Yes, I can make gravy from scratch, but you're not always going to be able to. Maybe you just want a quick little serving of gravy to go on something. So, yep, absolutely. Hello, hello, ghetto. Let's see. All right, see lots of hellos. Lots of socializing. Fat Man says, I finally got stocked up for 1 year of Saturday and Sunday breakfasts. I love my biscuits and gravy, so I have enough cans of sausage gravy and loaded up on dried potato shreds, freeze-dried sausage links for Saturdays. Nice. Very nice. Let's see here. All right, see more socializing, more hellos. Let me come on down. See talk of canning, arts and crafts and supplies and games prep for the kiddos. Yeah, for adults too. Books, cards, cacao powder, instruments. Yep. Mylar bags. Oh, you've got Mylar bags of Mexican candy. Yeah, yeah. You can put hard candy or put candy in Mylar bags if you want. Let's see. Your Walmart was full. It's also so damn expensive. People aren't filling carts up. Yeah, I've noticed that as well, Joe. People are not filling their carts. They're not. And yet there's just not, at least in our area, people are not filling the carts even on paydays, not even on weekends. When I see people, usually when they'll go and buy full groceries, they're not filling their carts up like I've seen in the past. And there's just not enough on the shelves to fill up your cart anyway. Um, what's there is not being replenished. I have noticed a lot more. I've talked on another video about metering, and that's where they're putting out just a few things on the shelf at a time. Like they may have, so it may look, and it may actually be pretty sparse on the shelf. They may not have a whole lot of an item, and I'm going to use this body wash as an example because that's where I first noticed it. Went to the store, went to Walmart to get some soap because we needed to prep some more soap, hand soap, body wash, things like that, more hygiene products. So I'm glad we went ahead and did that because now it's short. So we went and we got body soap. They only had 2 or 3 on the shelf. We took, I think they had 3 and one of them was damaged. We took 2. The next day, I forgot something at the Walmart, so I ran back up by myself to grab it, and I went past that aisle, and they put a couple more out. And I've noticed it with food. Mister and I watched a employee stocking the shelf at Walmart the other day. She had her back to us, and we were kind of turned a little bit. We weren't blatantly staring, but she was restocking some soup, actually, some soup and chili, and was only putting a few cans out on the shelf. And I've watched them do that for several things. So they're not imposing limitations necessarily on some things like the water and the toilet paper or paper products, which I think everyone is kind of used to at this point or got used to very quickly. But other products are being limited in that they're just metering how much they're putting out so that I guess to keep people or maybe dissuade people from filling their cart or clearing the shelf out. I don't know. Let's see. Hi, Farmer's Son Prepping. How are you doing? I see you there. Let me see here. Yeah, calorie counting per person is tricky. It is tricky. Yeah, it is easy to overdo. Um, Something you could consider is if everyone in your well, if everyone's pretty close in calories, if you're all decided that there's 4 adults in this house, maybe it's, parents living with their child and in-law and maybe a couple kids, all the adults decide, yeah, if something goes down, we're going to be active. Maybe not highly active, depending on wherever you are. You're just going to be, we'll be active. We'll be doing lots of stuff. And if everyone is somewhat close in calorie count, you could make the decision to put everyone, or at least put the males and females on the same calorie level. You know what I mean? So like maybe if I had a sibling here and she's about the same height and weight and her calorie count came out to close to mine, we could put the calories at, say there's 2 of us at 2,300 calories or 25 or 2,800 calories, whatever it was, and count both of us, 2 of us at that, if that makes sense. It's something to think about. You can always adjust your calories a little bit. Let's see. Making casseroles will come in handy. Yeah, if you feel that you'll be in a situation where you have power or have the ability to cook, absolutely. Yeah, that you can do a casserole. I love casserole. I love a good casserole. One pot cooking. Let's see here. All right, keep going down. Hey, Stephanie, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. The first half Milkmaid for Mister. His calorie count would be 3,200 if we're highly active, and we are counting on being highly active and doing things around here because we would be working outdoors quite a bit, you know. So, but anything, if he's not working outside or I'm not working outside, we're not doing anything like that, then we would not need that super high calorie count, right? Or conversely, if you think you're going to be not necessarily working outdoors, tending to livestock or doing things outside that are going to be hard manual labor, and really working up an appetite for that 3,000 calories if you're a guy. Um, if you are going to if part of your plan is you're going to be, bugging out, or you're gonna be walking, or you have a lot of walking in your plan to go somewhere, you're gonna need a lot of calories. I'll say that. So you may wanna keep that in mind. Okay, whatever your situation is, everyone's prepping for something different. I know some people prep for EMPs and no electricity and no working vehicles. If that's part of your plan, if that's what you think is going to happen and that's what you're prepping for, then you may want to keep in mind that you'll need those calories because you're going to be walking or riding a bicycle. You know, if you've got bicycles, it's going to take a lot of energy there. All right, let's see here. All right, I'm just gonna come on down. I'm gonna skip a bunch of stuff because I feel like I'm getting farther and farther behind here, guys. Let's see here. Make rugs, bags, purses, and outdoor pillows out of plastic bag yarn. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's funny. I did film a little bit. I'm going to do a little update on yarn, just yarn in general. A couple of folks had asked to see what progress I've made so far on the crocheted sweater. So I've got something else I'm going to be putting out probably later on, and I'm going to show you that. And I'm going to talk a little bit about plastic yarn. Let's see here. Bye, Milkmaid. Thanks for hopping in. Appreciate you coming in here. Let's see. Hey, Jeremy, how are you doing? Yeah, the first half, the first 30 minutes are the meat and potatoes of it all, and now we're just kind of, having a bit of socializing and talking about everything, and I'm a bit behind. I keep saying that, but I am. Let's see. Alright, I'm going to scroll all the way down. Okay, that just happened to catch my eye. For women, consider getting a menstrual cup and washable or reusable cotton pads rather than disposable products for shift. Okay. Um, I'm going to be a little bit contrary. Only in just to say um, guys, if this makes you uncomfortable, I'm sorry, but you know what? You may wanna listen just so you can help out the ladies in your group, okay? Um, Single dads who have daughters, okay? Or if you're trying to help your spouse out, your wife, whatever, because this is a fact of life. So, the problem with menstrual cup is it's not for everybody. There are some, conditions which you would not use a menstrual cup. People who have endometriosis, you know, if you have a medical reason, it doesn't work for everybody. That's the only thing I'm going to put in here. It's the only thing I'm going to say to be a little contrary. That's pushed a lot in the preparedness community. Some people are very insistent. I've seen some people be extremely insistent that women must get a menstrual cup. They can be extremely uncomfortable. They're not for everyone, you know? So just keep that in mind. I'm not saying people should not get it. I'm just saying keep that in mind. There can be legitimate medical reasons for people not to have that. Reusable pads or washable stuff, that's a great idea. Absolutely. There are free patterns online. You can look it up and you can make your own at home. You can see what fabric is the best. You can even buy them made. There are people who make them and sell them. I think there's even a couple of companies these days that are making them commercially and selling them, believe it or not. But as far as the cup itself, um, yeah, it's not for everybody. It really isn't. And it's not just about a size thing. Some people just really can't do it, you know? The thing also I want to touch on, and I'm just going to keep on making people uncomfortable, is as far as storing disposable products, don't store a lot of them. Like, don't say, I'm going to store 2 years worth of this stuff, because what you don't realize is they can actually get moldy and mildew inside the fibers, and you won't know it's in there. You don't want to put that, you know, against your body or in your body. Okay. And I'm saying this to ladies and to gentlemen. If you're helping someone, a female in your group or in your family to prep, be aware of that, you know. All right, uncomfortable portion over with. Let's keep going. Let's see here. Let me see. Let me scroll. I see Loretta. How are you doing? Good to see you. Let's see here. Oh my gosh, I made it to the bottom. I can't believe it. I caught up with you guys. Anything you eat right now has seeds in it. Take the few extra minutes to clean them and vacuum seal those seeds up. Yeah, if you know those seeds are going to sprout, they're not hybrids, or if, yeah, absolutely. If you're into saving seeds, save them for sure. All right, guys. Sweet. I made it to the bottom. I can't believe I did it. I didn't think I'd ever get here. I thought, oh my gosh, it's a pipe dream. I'm going to catch up. Hey, Jeep, how are you? I did see you there as I scrolled right on by. Good to see you. All right. Okay, so I will make it for another, let's see, we'll keep it up for another 3 minutes and then I'll call it a day. We'll have been on for an hour and a half. So, hey, Monique, I didn't say hi to you either, I don't think. Yeah, yay me. Made it to the bottom. I'm always afraid that I'm so woefully behind that people are like, we were talking about that 15 minutes ago. What are you, we're on to the next topic. So I'm glad everyone came in today. I'm really glad for it. I'm glad I went ahead and did this as a stream. Mister was dying laughing at me because I was in the kitchen. He's saying, how's it going? I was trying to do this video. I was up so late last night because I don't know if I'm a perfectionist or what the problem is, but I'll record something and I'm like, no, that's not how I want it. And I keep doing it, take after take after take. And then I get so irritated because I keep doing it. And then I'm like, screw it, let it go. And then after sleeping on it, after I finally got to sleep, I woke up this morning, I was like, no, I need to do this differently. And then I just got aggravated with that. And I thought, I could have done a stream and talked about this and been done with it 6 times over by now. And I thought, well, shoot, that's what I'm going to do. So that's what we've done. And Mister was dying laughing at the kitchen because he's, how's it going? I said, this is bullshit. And he started laughing. I said, this is so painful to me to make a video. I hate making videos. It's not difficult. It's just, I don't know the process. It just hurts. It hurts me, you guys. It hurts me. Oh my goodness. Sounds like OCD kicking. Well, I'm not obsessive compulsive though. That's the thing. That's why I said I don't know if I think maybe I'm being too hard on myself of I want I want to explain things in such a way, and I don't know that I do any better job going live, but at least it's out there and it's done now. But if I'm recording it, I want things to be a certain way. Yeah, I don't know that I call it OCD, but I know what you mean. Yeah, maybe I'm just being too critical of myself. That's probably much more likely. Hey, have you made that cornbread yet, by the way? Cornbread for Canada, guys. Let's see. When prepping, one thing to remember is always think outside the box. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Be surprised where it will lead you. Yeah, absolutely. You have to think outside the box, color outside the lines a little bit. You have to be creative. You've got to be creative. Let's see here. Oh, I see seed talk. Yes, allow the seeds to dry out before you package them. Definitely. Yeah, you don't want to package any damp seeds or wet seeds. They get moldy. Tonight, the cornbread will be made. What? I'm excited, you guys. If you didn't know, Monique is in Canada, and North Shore, you can confirm this. There's no cornbread in Canada. What the heck? No cornbread, no cornmeal. So Klingon Princess actually sent Monique some fresh ground corn, which is a real treat because that's delicious. Fresh ground corn for cornmeal, and mailed it to Monique in Canada. And Monique is going to try making cornbread tonight. She's never had cornbread before. So I'm excited for her. I hope she doesn't try it and then say, this is bullshit. This isn't nearly as good as I thought it was going to be. I'm never making this again. I don't know what all the hype is about. I think you said that your fear was that your husband will love it and he'll want it all the time, and then you don't know what you'll do. Oh, well, take pictures, make a video, all of the above. That first bite of cornbread, that first reaction, what you think of it. That would be awesome. I'd love to know about it. I'll be watching. I'll be waiting, lurking, hanging out here on the interwebs, waiting to see how you like cornbread. See, there we go. See, cornbread. Everyone's like, yeah, hot cornbread smothered in butter. Or yeah, I see me just coat it in butter. Just coat it in butter. You can put honey on it. See, for me, if I put honey on it, that's like a dessert. That's even better. Let's see. All right, guys, I am going to wrap it up here. We're at an hour and a half, and I thank you all so much for coming in here. I appreciate you very much. I hope you have a great evening. I hope you found the information useful and helpful, at least maybe give you something to think about, something to consider. Like I said, I know a lot of people who have been in preparedness long term, like Mr. and I have, and are considered, I guess, or call ourselves lifestyle because it is a lifestyle. Our prepper pantry, I guess I just call it our pantry. This is our food. This is what we rotate in and out. This is how we store our food. Now, this is not how we always stored it. Like I said, transparency. That's not how we always did it. But once I figured out how to do it that way and saw what a much better way it was, we switched over to doing it. So some people don't think it's the best way and it's not the best way for them. Then you do what works for you. This is just another method of storing food. It's a way that I think is better and more accurate. But again, do what works best for you and your household. All right, guys. What? You don't, no cornbread? Hold on. Oh, ghetto. Now I have to ban you from the channel. You can't stand cornbread. All right. I'll allow that moment of dissent there. That's just communist. I don't know, man. Now watch, I'll probably get a strike because I said communist. All right, everyone have a great evening. Go out and eat cornbread, except for ghetto. Don't eat any cornbread. Monique will look for your review on how you like cornbread, what you think of it from a Canadian perspective. Everyone have a great weekend. Keep prepping. If you have any questions or comments about the video, you're welcome to email me. My email address is in the description, and you're welcome to put a comment on the video as well. Stay safe out there, guys. Have a great week. I will try to drop another video before Thanksgiving. If I don't, have a great Thanksgiving if you observe it. I hope you have a relaxing week and stay safe out there, guys, okay? Stay sweet.